Sideline of ball. Blake Widow's doing it. They're gonna take. He's gonna bring down 30. Alone with a double kill. Dropping fast. Final points there. He's still alive. Wait, check his slide. He's going one side. He's going a second. He's taking it out. They're overtime on three. They're all dead.
Hello everyone and welcome back. It's the Summit 2 by G2A.com. We are in the Southeast Asia region. It's day number 3 of Sea Dota here, and we are on our third of 4 matches. So got a nice little fun 4-night pack of Dota for you. Bringing the action here, the English coverage is myself at Beyond the Summit, Coddle Guy. Joining me remotely on the east side, it's going to be Blaze. Blaze, my friend, we've seen already 2 pretty action-packed games, both of them kind of being upsets. So now, as Execration going to press on forward here, they've had a lot of games tonight. They just came out of a game. They played in our first match tonight. They might be feeling a little bit winded. Invasion might be feeling a lot more fresh tonight. Who do you got for this one, man?
I don't know. It's hard to say since Execration's recent roster shift up with 2 Stantons here taking out not only Jay, who is not able to play full-time and therefore can't remain on the team, and they're looking for a replacement, and currently RR, who as far as I know is still fine with the team, but is being stood in for temporarily today. And I would say is those are the top 2 that I would give. I mean, obviously all 5 of them played at great strength, but with 2 really powerhouses of players being taken out of their roster, I think Invasion have a good shot at it. I'm not going to say I favor them necessarily, but it's a lot closer than it would have been maybe even a couple weeks ago. So, whereas I would give the match guaranteed to the old Execration. So we'll see. Primo and DocX, they performed well enough to take the game against Myth Trust earlier. It was a very close one, though, and if there wasn't some misplays here and there, I don't know if the Anti-Mage would have pulled it through. So I definitely think that shook them a little bit, and then obviously coming out of best of 3, it's tough. But all the same, a very close matchup, and a pretty even draft from what I can see.
Pretty standard early even draft too. Right on top of that, another interesting first grab of the Vengeful Spirit. It seems like they're really prioritizing this hero on this scene as far as how valuable it was. When the first like 6.82 dropped, everyone found a lot of potential out of Vengeful Spirit. Maybe when you saw Legion Commander popped up or a Bat Rider, it worked as a fantastic counter. Still contributes a lot, has a reliable stun that works from range. She's a range, and she actually has a reasonable high ceiling to work with to press her forward into the late game. She can actually put out a pretty good right click. But for now, I would imagine they support Grab, Centaur, of course. Big, Brad, beautiful. He's the horse god himself, and he can bring a lot to offer in the off-lane position. Global presence with Stampede works both offensively and defensively, and can even outrun a Ravage if necessary. On the other side for Evasion, also pretty standard. Tidehunter is like the next best in line, if not already the best himself at playing the off-lane position, and can make big impact as far as team fight. And Ogre, I mean, we saw him in a core position last game, but we already have an idea as far as what he can do in a fight and why he's picked up so quickly here for most of these teams.
Good amplifier, good hero that can put out some good pressure early. He's very survivable, which is great in this metagame. You don't want your supports to just drop down to 2 spells, though that is kind of what Vengeful Spirit can do in the wrong situation. But yeah, in this case here, he's really good at securing kills. He's good at not giving up deaths, and when it comes down to it, you're going to be picking up a lot of right-clicking cores to balance out your mid to late game, and Ogre enhances that as well. So overall, great pickup. Medusa's actually going to come out outright. And this leaves a lot of potential counterplay, but the Anti-Mage isn't going to be one of them. Last time around, DocX was running the AM against Lakel's Medusa, but this time around, they've got options like Nyx, they've got options like OD, maybe some Necro Namicon spam, but when it comes down to it, it's still a hard-hitting, hard carry, and certainly the heroes to create the space for are Tide and Ogre.
And we'll have to see if Execration / IAP now seeing this Medusa grab, they're taking a little bit of extra time to think about this. If they want to push on forward with maybe a late strategy that they had in order, or if they are seeing this early Medusa. Honestly. Yeah, you're seeing this early Medusa, and you're like, no, we got to think of something else. Someone else pops out to me that I don't think we see enough of, and it's still available. Now, they are going to go with the Nyx Assassin as a counter, of course, with their the mana burn is so well, and it can be utilized as both an offlaner or a support, more likely being a support here with Centaur already grabbed. But I was also going to say Invoker wouldn't be too bad of a grab. You can also use in both ways. If you go Necro Book, Quas Exord, or if you just go straight up Quas Wex, EMP can do big work against Medusa and Ogre as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, when you see the Ogre Magnus strata, I really like the Invoker because you can dispel both the Empower and the Bloodlust with a single Tornado, and then obviously the EMP follows suit. So I think that's pretty cool. But the Nyx is a very easy way to go about it. I do not think in this metagame, we do see the Magnus here, interesting. But I don't think in this metagame that you can just see a Medusa pick halfway through the draft and completely ignore it and do your own thing. You have to play at least a little bit reactively. Maybe not commit your entire draft to countering her, but definitely say, okay, Centaur, maybe you need to build a Heaven's Halberd. Maybe pick up a Mana Burn. Nyx Assassin, great pickup here. I mean, if they pick up nothing else to deal with her, that's plenty right there. I mean, that's still going to contribute a lot in terms of Mana Burn later in the game, especially. Early on, it's a nice little bit, but late game, when you get some crazy survivability, you need that Mana Burn out. And Rubik is going to be an interesting hero to pair with it. It means Nyx is probably going to be core, and we're going to be looking for some badass spell steals.
Yeah, putting him now in this core position. To be honest, we could theorycraft all day and throw it against the wall and not be sure exactly what's going to stick, but Vengeful has opportunity to be a core. We've seen Centaur played by core like VG Gaming. Nyx Assassin we used to see in the olden days. Mushi rep it pretty hardcore in the mid lane. That's still also a plausible thing. So we'll have to see, though. Man, Rubik, man, he's just got the world is his oyster in this game. An RP here, a Ravage there, Stone Gaze. You know, it's whatever the hell you want to grab. It's out there for the taking. But there are a lot of big boys here on the side of Invasion, which I worry here for Nyx Assassin. Even if he gets Vendetta, by that point, he's not going to have an easy time taking down anyone here unless they do get reckless with this Medusa as far as where she'll be farming and who she'll be next to.
Honestly, I think Nyx, his carapace is really good against all these heroes. Maybe not Ogre so much, because Ignite and the first instance of Fire Blast is all he can possibly block as far as ticks go. He doesn't block every single stun coming out from a multicast Fire Blast. But when it comes down to Magnus and Tide, they look to initiate. They want to jump in, ulti, and follow that up. They want to do Shockwave after their RP. They want to do an Anchor Smash after their Ravage. But Nyx popping a Carapace is not only going to prevent that damage from being dealt, but then Rubik has a great window of opportunity to steal either of those spells. So honestly, it's very scary for Invasion to be dropping these big ultimates against Nyx Assassin when Rubik is waiting, because the stun duration on that Carapace is pretty much equal to a lot of what we're going to be seeing once you get it maxed out, of course. And honestly, with Nyx's build, that's probably not going to be until much later, because you have to prioritize the mana burn against Dusa. So probably like a 4-4-1-1 build early on, and that means we're not going to be seeing the Spike Carapace maxed out until much later in the game, maybe when the Refresher Orbs are up. But yeah, you break down that chain of initiation, you get the combo breaker of the Spike Carapace, and Rubik might be able to turn the fight in your favor, so we'll see.
Crystal Maiden is going to be the last grab here from Invasion Esports, the secondary support, the only flimsy one of the team. We need a little bit of serious estrogen in there. I mean, Medusa, even look at her. Ugh. But Lycan also going to be the retort here on the side of Execration. So some pretty solid push. His global presence with Hal could help with those engagements. You also have the global, the Stampede to put on top of that. He could be a prized medallion holder himself, if not Vengeful, so you have synergy with the minus armor that he's going to be working with. I like it. I like the grab. It's pretty bull rush, face rush kind of style, and we'll see if it ends up working out for him here. As we do hop into the game, this is our third game of the day of our 4 best-of-1 series. As I get my mouse tangled up my headset here. Holy crap. We'll go ahead and get things started and underway here. It's a Summit 2 by G2A.com. I'll lead things off with Invasion here on your Radiant side. Coming as a 4-man hit squad leading out the front, it is going to be Mr. ADTR, I'll call him. He's going to be playing your Ogre Magi. Right behind him, it's going to be Kesik Imba. I'm sorry if I say these wrong.
It's Ketchik Imba. Ketchik means small in their language, so...
I got my mouse fixed now.
Malay. Yeah, Ketchik Imba.
Ketchik Imba means small. Good to know. I actually haven't personally gotten to cast a lot of Invasion. I'm actually really excited about this one. But I've been around the block for everyone but them, so... Now it's going to be OK, who's going to be playing your Crystal Maiden support. I did miss out Mr. FC. FC going to be playing your Magnus. And finally, that'll round things out. Tidehunter playing the off-lane position as we expect. Going to be Ghost.
Yeah, and we're going to be looking over at the side of IAP, Interactive Philippines Execration here, going from left to right. We're going to be seeing Chemo run on the Vengeful Spirit here. It's going to be Doc X. Oh, sorry, I didn't go left to right, but he's right nearby. It's Doc X on the Lycan. And switching over to the mid lane, it is going to be Primo Nage running on this Nyx Assassin. Similar build to what we saw from him before on the DP. He really wants that bottle up bright and early. And getting some good mana spam out would help him a lot in the lane. He definitely has the HP regen to deal with it no matter what, but the bottle of regen with these runes, you gotta get it early. Anyways, the other support's gonna be Fox. He's gonna be running the Rubik here and covering this regen rune, leaving it in full vision of invasion, so I'm not sure if Tide will be able to capitalize on that knowledge or if it's just gonna be taken out, but for now, it's still up, and it's gonna be Ewe on the bottom lane here. He's gonna be your Centaur Warner. Pretty tough lane for him, to be honest. He's got the Stout Shield, but he has 1 versus 3 up against the Ogre, the Crystal Maiden, the Dusa. I guess CM is going to be in the jungle quite a bit, but when she's not, he has to be wary. Luckily, he does have an Observer Ward up in the jungle nearby.
Yeah, he can see any sort of slow roll ganks that could be coming his way, but for now, just got to make sure he stays nice and far back, opting for the Stout Shield over the boots. He doesn't have as quite of early mobility as you'd like to see on your Centaur, so he'll try to get what he can as far as XP is concerned. Matching up, though, on CS. Nyx Assassin taking on Magnus. We don't see this very often, but Nyx Assassin probably not going to be doing too shabby. If he can work out a nice Spike Carapace here and there, can kind of stutter step this Magnus quite a bit, but he always has to be wary of the pesky skewer back that FZ could pull out.
Yeah, it's actually a matchup that we used to see a lot more. Like, when Magnus was in his prime, Nyx wasn't that uncommon to see in the solo mid, so it is a kind of a blast from the past there, but yeah, in the end, he's really not focused on the Magnus in particular. He's going to be trading mana for mana, and he did get his bottle out a little bit earlier, so he might be better off in those exchanges. But in the end, it comes down to what he does outside of this lane. He doesn't really care about shutting down the Magnus nearly as much as he cares about gaining momentum and ganking the other lanes. Giving Medusa a difficult ride through the first 10 minutes of the game, and picking off lowly supports. We're going to see Venge rotate in, though, and FC is really low. He knows his bottle is forthcoming, but Primo Nage has a stun, and he did skill it up at level 3. That could be a dangerous pick, but of course, having just dropped that Sentry Ward to take down the Observer Ward that I was talking about before, he is going to be playing very cautiously, and even bottle sipping behind his tier 2. Like, he is as cautious as can be.
Yeah, he has an idea that someone's missing on the map. There's a VS out there in the world. Might be making a move on me. We could see him even play very, very low to the south of this lane, but she's already committed so much time. What's she going to do? She's going to pull back. I've committed so much, I'm not going to get anything out of it. Nyx is going to make his return back to the lane to square off with him. They're still pinging it about as if she should consider staying, but no, she needs to get level somewhere. She's still just hanging behind on this flimsy, no XP whatsoever, level 1 Vengeful Spirit. Now has to step back in the lane towards this Tide Hunter. So still relatively quiet game from both, but comparing the CS between both, Tide Hunter still at 0-0. Centaurs managed to throw together 5, so 5-1. It's respectable here in the off lane against this tri-lane setup.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're using the Crystal Maiden to harass back the Centaur Warrunner with auto attacks, and as it stands right now, the return damage does about as much as a Stout Shield blocked auto attack from the Crystal Maiden. She hits for only 40, so half of that is immediately negated by the Stout Shield, and then obviously there's a little bit of armor mitigation after the fact. So return hits her as much as it hits him, and I don't like this idea. I like Crystal Maiden to kill off the hard creeps when she can. Actually, FCFC in a bad spot right here. He gets skewered, but he does the Spike Carapace, and he's going to be able to get this kill with that double damage.
Wow,
might be a
nice.
return kill. Yes, it will. But all the same, getting the first blood gets that momentum, gets that gold advantage, and he's going to be dominating the Magnus from this point forward.
Caught the back end of that one, but the big Spike Carapace right there certainly helped the easy setup and the right click on the back end of a DD, which he had popped much prior to that. But it looked like he found the opportunity to open up, and even if he falls himself, he secures himself nice first blood. Tide Hunter has to get involved, so he's not near his lane and leaving space for their killer. Mid lane, he's back at it once more. Gets a nice stun off, brings immediately FCFC down to half life, and he's going to truck on towards that bottom regen rune that's being guarded up on Mogre.
So they've been controlling the runes well enough to this point. The 2-minute rune spawn, the Magnus did not get a chance to do that. He was still focused on bottle crowing while the Ogre took down the bounty on bottom. But now he actually gets to take a sip from the well of life here. He's going to have some sustainability on the lane, and he will survive, but I think that this lane is still going to go CS-wise towards Primo Nage just because of how that first blood works out. But Tide is a great beneficiary of how that turned out, but Magnus is on the back end, and he's constantly going to be wary of anything coming his way.
Yeah, he's still VS here hanging out, flirting with the idea of making engagement. There was almost an opportunity there to open up on the back end of Nyx's stun, but it's not there, and she is still hanging about, being pretty selfless while Tidehunter's stacking his ancient camp and looking to anchor smash at home and get towards that blink dagger quicker if he's going to bull rush right for it. Stun not going to catch that time from Primo. VS still thinking about going in regardless, so back and forth they go. He just runs down to the south. More time wasted here, unfortunately, for Chemo. Not going to get anything out of it. There's the stun that's going to fly, but Primo's already so low, he can't do anything.
Yep, so we'll be making his way back to base, but he does have Vendetta, so this is the perfect time for a TP gank. You TP to a lane, you can actually Vendetta during the channel, so you don't waste any mana, and you can just absolutely unload on the lowest HP hero on the map. This is the perfect time for Nyx Assassin to be forced back home, because he will be right back out on the map, but the only place to go is really bottom, and they're close together. You want to single somebody out, but right now there are 3, and even if he goes for that TP Vendetta play, he might not find that kill. We'll see.
Yeah, the easiest target, of course, being Crystal Maiden. I think he does that. He's like, I'm feeling some Crystal Maiden on the menu. Creeping on forward now. First Vendetta of the game. Looking to make big use out of it. Centaur's here. He wants to get involved.
Oh.
Oh, they pull back. Creeping. There she is. The lovely, gorgeous lady. Give me that
Chomp.
kill. They get it. Nice. It's going to be Centaur who cleans up the mess, but can Primo get away from this one? He's eating a lot of damage, forced to pull out the Spike Carapace, stops him briefly, but is it going to be enough? Oh, hello, how you doing there? Coming from the low ground, it's Magnus, and right at the front door is going to be Tidehunter. They have everyone in the party down here on the bottom lane, all for the one-for-one trade. I guess the benefit towards invasion, though, they do have to commit a lot just to get that bit of redemption.
Yeah, I mean, it is a commitment. Ghost has been from top lane to mid lane to bottom. I don't really know where he's finding his home, but going for the early Arcanes and Gush build, he's not really focused on just getting the levels and experience that you would expect from an offlaner. He's doing some things a little bit different here, and I mean, obviously getting involved in 2 kills early isn't too bad, even though his ancient stack is, it's at a triple. He wants to get a few more levels. Probably he needs to be level 7 before he starts tackling that. Anyways, yeah, the gank coming out onto Crystal Maiden, it's how they wanted it to pan out initially, but they get their comeuppance, and the only end result is Chemo gets some more levels. Speaking of, Chemo dropping the stun, and they will go for the combo onto Magnus here.
Well, he pops the invis, but they have the sentry still nearby. Is he able to get into the territory? They even commit a secondary sentry to make sure they get the job done. They do. It's Vengeful who grabs the kill, but now Primo once again might be caught in a situation. He is able to bottle up and walk away, so rotation comes in from Crystal Maiden, but still a job well done. Execration execute in the mid lane and take down Magnus.
Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about this earlier, but I feel right now in this metagame that Lycan is a soft counter to Medusa. There's a couple.
They take down AOA. Don't worry, you continue with your thought. Just a nice quick pick off right there, bottom, Ignite Fire Blast, and just some right clicks. Centaur's
Yeah, he was so close to Stampede too. 596 out of 600. Man, that sucks. But yeah, as far as the Lycan goes, I feel that he is a soft counter to Medusa because he always goes for the Necronomicon, which is great against Medusa naturally. Split Shot prioritizes the closest target to Medusa, so having the melee guy on top of you, she's gonna have to kill him first, and that obviously she takes the mana burn, she takes the pure damage nuke of the death throws, the death last will of that Necronomicon, and then yeah, just the fact that Shapeshift can kite around her so well. Like, she tries to stone gaze him, he can just walk away, go right back into it. Speaking of down bottom, they're looking to get into it, and they're not going to get the initiation they need. The Magnus is getting close, but still not quick enough on his feet. They can dissuade them from getting aggressive, but they can't actually find anything for themselves.
Primo's been scouting from the backhand side, still under Vendetta. Man, he wants that Crystal Maiden once more. She is beautiful and gorgeous. Stampede gets called out. He's going to quickly go for it. He gets it immediately. A quick hit and run, it looks like, from behind the enemy lines as he gets a nice CM pickoff right there. A sweet, delicious, icy treat for Mr. Nyx Assassin.
Living on the edge. There were 4 heroes there, but they were just not close enough to actually get that chain of abilities. Now he's going to get skewered under the tower, but another Carapace. It's going to be the Crystal Maiden coming out to try to make this happen. She does have a nice Frostbite, a nice Nova. Is it enough? Primo bottling, regenning HP, but finally he falls. This is going to be the 3rd death of the game for the Nyx Assassin mid.
Can't seem to get a kill without just quickly falling somehow, some way shortly after. As he goes down again. Not worth the immediate dive, and then he gets caught up mid lane. They committed RP for it, but they still take the Nyx down and get that bit of redemption, which is nice. Now Doc X, not with much mana to work with, using the back end of his Shapeshift, will farm up this top lane a little bit more. He's got his flats. He's going to finish up Power Treads. We'll see how long he decides to wait before he goes for his first attempt at the big one, the Roche, of course. before you know, some people like to wait a bit and get a hold of a Necro book or a head start into it and then go for Roche. Others are like, I can get it done. They could do that just with Vengeful Spirit being nearby helping out with Wave of Terror. That might be more than enough for them to take it down pretty quickly.
And they get to kill Medusa here. They've got the mana burn. It could be huge, but going right into the Sentry where they know about it, they'll be able to respond first. And yeah, they'll barely get the bonus damage out before he has to Carapace and run away.
Now he's on the back inside, pulls out the Carapace. Only stuns Ogre briefly. Fire Blast, he's trying to get close to even pull out the Stampede just to ensure there's a bit more space. So probably playing it extra safe, which is good. You never know. This Ogre starts it off with just one simple Fire Blast, and you got the Ignite out there. You're slowed down, could be caught out. So you also had Ravage that was nearby. Tidehunters all in this bottom lane. Meanwhile, down by the river, yeah, they're making a move. That's Z. Caught out and spot out. Sentry on the ground. He can't get away from this one. A few more right clicks. Skewer, though, pulls him out and away. Shockwave on the way out brings down Rubik pretty low, but the swap brings him into a nice Ravage that even takes Rubik down in the pit. Now they turn back. A-Wave very low. Anchor smashes it home as a double kill for Ghost. He's not done yet. One more. Takes out Vengeful Spirit.
That's
they
insane.
also sweep through and finish out the Nyx Assassin. Invasion come up huge in this bottom river skirmish.
I can't believe Magnus lived through that. I mean, the magic wand, the bottle, just continually staying alive. He's got to be singing that song now because that is just absolutely insane what he was able to get out of just with the skewer and the support of his allies, really. Like, they were able to jump in and really do what they needed to. They get 4 kills out of that. Like, it does do some damage to the tier 2 and get some nice farm, but I mean, getting those kills is what Invasion really, really wants in this early game. So finding that with the first big Ravage coming out and making things happen now, looking for a kill on the
They
Lycan.
might get Doc X. They set it with a nice Frostbite. They even commit the freezing field on this one. Cold shoulders given right there. It's Ogre Magi who comes up with the last hit, but they take down that Lycan. It's a prize grab for them. So Invasion come up big once more. Now start adding pressure on this bottom tier 1 tower. Benefit of Bloodlust and Empower. Anybody can hit pretty hard in this team.
Yeah, you could tell that OK is really upset about the Nyx ganks that have been just continually threatening him. He actually buys power treads here to survive a little bit better. The 8th strength is going to be what he needs to survive through that initial combo until Nyx picks up an item that will give him a little bit more damage. So at least for now, he will be able to survive with that little bit of extra HP. And yeah, it's just so frustrating for him that he has to go that route to survive against the ever-present gank train.
They want Medusa. They pull out Stampede. They're on the hunt. She is giving him the dance around the trees. And look at that. 3 TPs to come. Immediate Fire Blast multicast. Stops Centaur, and they might have bitten off more than they could chew, and they do. Centaur goes down. Medusa lives. Oh, Primo as well. Caught out RP. And they just slash him home. 2 for nothing. Bad engagement on Medusa, and a quick rotation comes in from Invasion.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, Invasion are doing really well as far as responding to these threats. Every single time they see them there, they commit a TP, they react, they commit, and even overcommit cooldowns just to make sure that their ally is safe and their enemies are in the grave. But I gotta say, it's just sloppy from Execration. I mean, you're sending one of your stand-ins in to go for these YOLO plays, and it's just... it's not really working for them. They didn't even get the Stampede debuff on Medusa, which would have been necessary to get that kill. And in the meantime, AoE could just be farming, looking for a Blink Dagger so these kills would be easy. Instead, here, 13.5 minutes in, he's still 1,000 gold off. And I just, yeah, obviously the Magnus, the Tide, they're going to be able to one-up him very quickly.
Yeah, it's just feeling like desperation for Execration right now as they're going to try to press on forward this mid lane. Behind the back play, though, coming out from Doc X on his Lycan, doing what a Lycan does. He's battling out with Roche with the benefit of his wolves and a fancy-ass cosmetic and an early level book. Should be able to do this solo. Might seem need some assistance, though. Crystal Maid moving nearby, gets the ward down, and she's going to see a Lycan near the Roche pit, and that's going to raise a white flag. They move on in. Big jump Ravage. Hey, Lycan. How you doing? Oh, you're doing Roche? Thanks for starting it for us. And they're going to move on in.
I think they can almost take it right now if they wanted it. Like, Execration don't have anything going for them. And, yeah, until they get a Blink Initiation, they can't contest a space like the pit. But for now, they're just going to leave it as bait for the Lycan. They're really just leaving his chew toy under the rug and just waiting for him to head for it again, and they'll probably be able to pick him off again because they have the long duration root from the Crystal Maiden as fast as you can run in Shapeshift. It's a 3-second disable that locks you in place, and obviously they've got a bunch of other stuns on top of that. So yeah, I don't see this Lycan taking this Roche easily, and he's going to keep trying.
Yeah, it's one of the desperation plays they really need to do to bring in that extra bit of gold, because right now they're getting caught out in the back end of bad fights, bad engagements. They're trying to make gigs happen, and they can't get the job done quick enough, and it just blows up in their face. So he's going to just dig through a lot of the farm here on the enemy side. Though they already have their own wards down, they should see where he's moving. They already ping out the Roche area, thinking he might move towards that area. The rest of Execration, they're in their own jungle, moving on through as a group. Do we have a smoke here? What's going on? A smoke coming in?
Yeah.
What's
They're just kind of chilling. Powwow.
Guys,
Team
let's
huddle.
put a ward down and maybe do something mid lane here, as Magnus is out in the front for now, but Ogre is right behind with the rest of the team. Now there is going to be the swap back. They're trying to quickly blow up Magnus, and they do. Nice quick hitting job right there coming out from Execration. That was quick.
They needed something quick. They just needed to commit every spell they have in their book and hope that there's not a tide waiting to jump on you. Like, that's the only way they can do it, because if they start just hesitating on kills, we're going to see Magnus slip away with 50 HP again, and that's not something that they can afford at this stage in the game. Up top, it's going to be a pretty easy push. The Medusa is not empowered, but she is doing pretty well with this Yasha as far as good right-click damage, and the tower's going to be dropping pretty quickly. Still, the tier 1 falls faster, and this is another aspect of the Lycan that, generally speaking, is really good against Medusa. How quickly he can test your side of the map, how quickly he can bring down towers, and how he can kind of compress your farming space to a very small region. And it can be extremely impactful, but the tempo of this game doesn't seem to be on point compared to what you generally see with a Lycan.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, Primo, he is scouting things out under Vendetta. And there's no sentry there. They take down the Roche this time very, very quickly. Shapeshift's going to be pulled out. It looks like Execration might go for a fight here. Back on the inside, it's going to be Ogre caught out from that next assassin. Now they press on forward. Stonegate's going to be called out. Ravage sets things up, though. Can they get in the sights? They quickly take down Crystal Maiden. Swap back, not going to be there in time. Still Aegis is going to pop up. We'll put him there at will. Now Doc X trying to get away from this one. He is on the retreat real quick, and it's going to be Magnus stunned about. Slowly brought down. Chemo sacrifices herself for the greater good of Doc X, who's still standing here, taunting them a little bit, and Medusa doesn't want to stop. There's a
Man, it feels like they haven't learned their lesson. They're looking at a lineup with RP, with Ravage, with Stonegaze, and they want to fight into a choke point at the bottom rune. Like, I saw that shapeshift, and I'm like, yeah, they can get out. They can run, they can minimize their losses, and they get the Roche. Really good win. And then they walk in, and they try to go for a Centaur Stomp. Like, I don't know how you can think that this team that you have at this disadvantage can fight into that in a choke point. It blows my mind.
yeah, there's way too much, and not enough as far as itemization on the side of Execration to make it worth. They need a BKB going here. Oh man, look at Primo. He is stalking right now, this Medusa. You're not going to do anything there. So he has to step back instead. Wait for another opportunity, just instead setting up the intel, but it's tough. It's a tough life if you're an Execration fan right now. You're going to need more online, more items, but the more time you want to take to farm is more time for Medusa to farm. And she's the queen of all farm in the late game, and now they're making a move. And anyway, though, Stun's going to be their anchor smash. Swap's going to have to come out from Chemo to save him. And now they step back. Medallion in the Wave of Terror brings on their armor a bit. Oh, Fox.
Nice steal.
Fox steals Stonegaze, pulls it out, and stops them, creating a bit of extra space for them to make their way out. A valiant effort from Fox. Jump in, hoof stomp. Oh, they're toying with death right here on maybe making the fight. Now they want to move on forward. Crystal Maiden, though, big freezing field. No one's looking to stop her anytime soon. Doc X immediately goes on the retreat. Oh my God, what have I gotten into? Trying to get away from this one. Shockwave, Chemo so low. They jump in. They slash once, they slash twice. She goes down. Now Ghost trying to get away. Oh, they have the dust. They see him, but he still gets Vendetta off. Can he right-click him down? Ghost, no! Gets a right-click in. Still goes down, regardless. Just to what looks like the Necro book of Lycan. Oh, boy. Oh, FC. It's still stuck. Jump forward. Slash comes out from A-Way. He gets another. Holy moly. What is
How
this?
does that
3 for
happen?
2, 3 for 4.
They got 3 kills out of that. Medusa dies to the wolves on the very back end of the fight, far away from anything happening. And then out of the woods. You don't go into the woods against the big bad wolf. And he's able to use his summons appropriately enough to get a double for him, set up the finisher for the Centaur. They get 3 kills out of that. And what seemed to be another disastrous engagement actually turns out to be a nice net worth swing in their favor, bringing down the Medusa for the first time this game.
Amazing, amazing. So, Execration showing they got a lot of tenacity. These kids ain't going down easy. They got a lot of fight. They got a lot of spunk in them here, and Invasion can't get too reckless and overzealous in a lot of these fights and put themselves in a precarious situation that quickly grows
Stone
to
Gaze steal,
be a
man.
huge disadvantage. Yeah, he gave his life for that Stone Gaze, though, to slow them back just enough to allow everyone to step back, which is a fight that turns out pretty profitable for him. So now they move as a group towards this mid lane area here. No smoke on pocket here, it looks like, from anyone on the side of Execration. But for Invasion side, now they have Ravage up at the ready. They have their Stampede up at the ready. RP's up at the ready. This is their time to shine and put those ultimates to serious use.
So we're going to see a good opportunity here, and Primo's not going to fall for it. He just pops his Carapace early, but I mean, there's only one blinker to pursue the Tide nowhere nearby. He's helping catch a gamble with the Ancients. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and just let that little fishy go. The Guppy's going to be released back into the wild, but all the same down bottom, there's going to be some pressure. It's a split push from the Centaur, not often one that you'll see, but one that can maneuver well enough with the Stampede to make it a low-risk position. But anyways, we're going to see the Lincoln Sphere come out for the Medusa. Will nullify like the first mana burn. Does it still block Impale? I forget if they fixed that or not, but
I want to say it does not anymore because of its new change, but, you know, I could be.
I think they left it. I feel bad about it, but I honestly think, like, despite the fact that it's not ground target, I think it still blocks it, which it should not, but we'll see.
We'll see, indeed. You could be right. It's not very often that I've seen not only Nyx being played, but against the Lincoln's hero. So we'll find out shortly, as most of Execration moving towards this bottom. 3 of them there, leaving 2 at the top, still prioritizing a lot of farm here on their Lycan. This guy's level 3 book, now building towards a BKB. This would be a very, very, very nice pickup. That isolation that Crystal Maiden can pull out, those devastating Fire Blast multicast, plus, you know, RP, Ravage, what have you. Be avoiding all that with a nice full 10-second BKB clock. So we'll see how much use DocX can put it with to bring in some right-click damage, which is something Invasion won't have in comparison to until this Medusa brings up a lot of farm. So they smoke up, they're moving bottom. Still waiting for an opportunity to find that big fight. They place down a Sentry, and it looks like maybe they'll just hide and set the trap.
But it's all about the Rubik steals here. If he has a Blink Dagger...
Oh, this is a dream. Oh, the 1, the 2, the pullback, and they immediately take down 2 like it's nothing. That was just too easily set up. That's just beautiful. Jump on in, set up, swap back. They want Ogre here. The big bad wolf is in town, and he is just hammering it home. Crystal Maiden, desperational. She falls. 3 hits is all it takes to bring down Crystal Maiden, and now Watermelon might be next on the menu. The freezing field that was stolen being used, but unfortunately he didn't steal a stun, as he is going to make his swift TP escape. Medusa not looking to get involved with too much of that hot mess, is taking herself to the top lane to push it on out, but what a beautiful setup with those ultimates.
Yeah, still a good call to engage after the fact. They knew that they were at their weakest when the Medusa wasn't there and their ultis were on CD, so I like the re-engage. I think that the Lycan obviously can do a lot of damage here with the fact that he and his wolves can crit. The Necro 3, they have a lot of physical damage coming out, and, you know, this is still a 3-armor Crystal Maiden. She didn't go for Tranquils, so even the Treads don't bail her out of that one. Catching Emba, though, trying to do something to Ewe. He is going to drop low, but I don't think he dies.
Oh, Fox is like valiantly once again just trying to move right in the middle of the Stone Gaze, gets frozen up and annihilated. Now Invasion without their ultimates here on the retreat out. Is DocX going to be the one to give them the parting message, it looks like. Still tantalizing the idea with pressing forward, still scouting out with those wolves. Primo moves forward, he has a DD, but now he might get caught in the back end of a skirmish. Yeah, he's going to be visioned out. Negative Earn's going to be there. It's going to be Ogre who picks up the kill. Away, very wounded from battle, needs to desperately get back to base to heal on up. And this is probably more than enough space for Invasion to just kind of take down this tier 2 rather. Execration, not battle ready.
Is under attack.
So, yeah, they're just trying to go for a fight that they couldn't take. I thought, again, this is the second time I think that it's like they could have just gone for an easy retreat. Centaur lives, they waste Stone Gaze. But nope, they try to take a fight. They're down 21-11, and the ultis are just cooling back down. So, going from bad to worse. They will find an opportunity onto Ogre here, which is not too shabby.
Ogre
it's more of a gimme than anything else.
Put himself into some sort of post. That wasn't the best position. They scout him out. He tries TP, but they just immediately stun him. They might also get okay here. Poor little Crystal Maiden stuck far behind, trying to farm neutrals, and the bad guy's side. Trying to get away from his Centaur. Oh, he's turning the corner here. He might get juked out.
He
Oh,
just wants to
jumps forward. Ah, it's a zap.
Yeah.
Long range
You
zap.
want to actually get out of range of her because she's going to frostbite you. But if you keep dancing behind the tree line, you fog her, then you're going to be able to blink on her and guarantee the kill. Whereas frostbite actually gives her a chance to get away. So, good play overall for my way, but I don't know. They need more than good play. They need amazing play from their team to pull themselves back into it. To answer that little trivia that we were talking about before, I looked it up. 6.81 did make it so the Impale is no longer blocked by Lincoln Sphere. Thank you, Ice Frog. But, yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, they're looking for opportunities. Nyx wants to go for these, like, 1v1 solo kills, and he can do that against Crystal Maiden and Crystal Maiden only.
Yeah.
Problem is, she's very rarely by herself.
That's what
she's
I
not
questioned.
the Little Red Riding Hood in the woods here.
When I saw how much meat was built up here on the side of Evasion, and then they grabbed the Nyx, I'm like, okay, fantastic. You know, you got your counter to Medusa, but what is Nyx going to find to grab for himself? And especially putting him in a core position where he is trying to get Vendetta kill after Vendetta kill. This is a 2 and 8 Nyx right now. He is well below his quota. These supports even are too big. The Crystal Maiden being the prize target, but she knows that, so she's going to play it extra safe, or at least be in this buddy-buddy system. Right now she's hanging out with Ogre, who could definitely turn back big damage now that he has level 11. So Nyx might even have to second-guess anything like that. So Nyx not going to get a whole lot. You know, kind of the same way when you have a Pudge, and the Pudge hasn't really gotten a lot done, and he's just kind of like falling off a bit. But I'm curious to see where they're going to take this Nyx Assassin from here.
I feel like it would be a different story if the laning phase went differently, because often what the Nyx does just by being a pick and being here on the board is forces you to pay the support tax. You're already underfarmed supports that are getting picked off every once in a while by the Nyx. By the way, they do see him with this Observer Sentry combo. You have to buy Sentry Wards on underfarmed heroes, and you don't want to do that. You get picked off, and then you buy Sentry Wards, and you get picked off anyways. And it's just like, that just makes it to be a snowball effect where you just die and die and die. You're going to go on Crystal Maiden here.
He's going to try to take her down quick, but the team's already on it. She lives. She gets the freeze off and steps back. A tantalizing meal. You'd think so, Nyx Assassin, but unfortunately, you're the food. I don't know. He ends up getting taken down abruptly. So Centaur is still hanging by mid lane, farming. They see him. They blink and force to try to catch up with him. They even get the gush off. Ghost's efforts to set this up, are they going to be worth it? He has to pull out the Stampede and the Blink to get away from it.
This is brutal. I mean, the Necronomicon, the Aegis, the BKB up on Lycan, all these things are good, but the Scotty on the Medusa is better. Nyx is the only answer to Medusa now, and all he should be doing, he should be playing this game like a bounty hunter, but instead of staying behind and tracking from long range, he has to be just mana burning every time it's off cooldown and then immediately falling back. Never staying near allies because clumping kills you against these ultimates. Stay out of everybody's zone of attack and only go in for mana burns. That's really the only way they can pull this one out, because right now Medusa with this Scotty Lincoln's is nigh unkillable, and she hits really hard too. She's got the Empower, she's got a decent chunk of agility with the Yasha, and there's the RP.
Oh, jump forward, RP on 2, skewers him back into a tree, and makes him feel like a fool. As now they're going to go on the hunt. It's 4 legs on 4 legs here. There's a hot pursuit, shockwave. Oh, almost preemptively catches him, but no, it looks like he's going to make the getaway. It's going to be A-Way sidestepping and going right back up into the base to get away from this one, but look who's creeping down mid lane. Your Medusa doing work on your tier 3. Lycan split pushing on this bottom lane, but their base now in jeopardy. They're looking for a tier 3 that they might just get. No more Glyph is up and available. Now Rack's going to be exposed. But now, yeah, Lycan makes his way into the base. So we'll see if anyone's going to pull back. There's your first set of TPs. It looks like Invasion are done invading. And now they want to see if maybe they can catch up with Lycan. No, he is so freaking fast. 650 race car speed. Thank you, Ice Frog. Takes him back up to the mid lane.
Now, people will contest me on this. It's a matter of opinion, but this bottom tier 3 should probably be denied. Lycan's Wolves are just going to take that down anytime they feel like it anyways. It's 67 HP. It is HP damage they might not get on the rack, so there are situations where it's a bad idea, but right now I kind of feel like it's just going to be easy money for him. He just throws Wolves that direction. We'll see if the lane even pushes out that way to break backdoor protection, but for right now they're grouping back together. Execration look to be on the hunt, but they don't have that big of a timing window. 30 seconds and RP is up. They need a pickoff. They don't need a fight.
Well, you got 3 of them now moving along here, looking to come in. They might cross paths here. No ultimates really available. You got 20 more seconds for your RP. Ravage, though, still ready. So Invasion might be okay with the fight here. They got the Empower up at the ready here on the Medusa.
Look at bottom. That's what we're
leading
talking
up the
about.
front, but
Radiant's
Easy tower.
bottom tower
If they
is
can break
under
down backdoor
attack.
protection, which they, what the hell, cannot actually.
oh,
Just
it's
barely.
close. It's close. No,
This-
yeah. Just a
Legacy
little shy
illusions
of the
are not
damage,
great. So if you did Necro and Wolves, that should be a
Dire's
tower
middle
kill, but
barracks
because
are
you can
under
howl
attack.
all 4 of those units. But with the illusions, they don't get
Medusa's
enough
got your
benefit.
racks here. You might need to stop her. There's a stun that will slow her down a bit. And
Radiant's
Lincoln's
top
now going to be
tower is
popped with
under
the
attack.
mana drain attempt, but she's just sitting here loud and proud. What are you going to do about it? I'm taking your base. Moving on
Radiant's
forward.
bottom
Lycan doing the
tower
same
has
thing.
fallen.
He's blowing down the houses down
Radiant's
here on the
top
bottom
tower is
lane.
under attack.
His racks now move. RP catches on Lycan. Can't quite skew him away. Just taking him up to the north into a stone gaze, but he quickly BKBs. Returns his
Whoa,
focus
that's
back
a
on
decision.
and yep, tries a TP. Now he's going to come back with no wolf form, no nothing. They take out Crystal Maiden. It looks like here on the way out towards this bottom lane as they try to stop as many TPs as possible. Doc X is like, I'm in it to win it. I'm trying to get a racks. He can't though. Oh, unfortunately he gets it down to 60 life, and this is your melee lax. It will start to regen.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision there. If he gets the melee racks, I guess it's worth it long term, but I mean, popping your BKB before the Aegis goes down, the shapeshift gone, it's just not a great spot to be in general. Centaur's actually going to get gunned down here. He has Force Staff, but he doesn't have Stampede. I think Ketchugambo could just solo him. This is like, you don't get away from this.
I'm going.
Unfortunately,
He's
it's
taking
the
his time.
slow, painful death.
Snake. Oh God, Centaur, he can't get away. He needs more time. And ultimately, just the slow, painful death works beautifully there for your Medusa. Gets a little bit of extra farm. Now a butterfly. The evasion is real here. No MKB, no sort of true strike coming out. Looks like on the side of Execration, it's Medusa looking pretty scary.
Honestly, the only way that I see them feeling confident in the late game is if they had a sheepstick on the Nyx Assassin with a lot of momentum around the time that Medusa picks up her Butterfly. A really good Nyx Assassin game, you can actually do that. You can get a Hex at the time that she picks up a Butterfly as her third item. But here it is, Scotty, Butterfly, Yasha, Lincoln's, and the Nyx only has a Blink Dagger.
Oh, just no mercy. Just moves right forward. Almost takes down Fox in 3 attacks. It's going to be a blinking shockwave, though, that gets the job done from FZ. And now looking to turn their sights. They want to clean out the last racks here in the mid lane, and it looks like it will be done. Rubik's out for 40 seconds without the buyback at the ready. Medusa's just a beast. There's a jumping hoof stomp followed up, but the RP's right there when he's BKB ready to go. Ravage follow up. They quickly clear out 2. They click out 3. Make it 4 all day. Only liking your lone survivor here on the back end side. Still has shapeshift. Can't do anything about it though. Is his home base now going to be pillaged? They move up to the north and they put their sights on the top now.
Yeah, they just they didn't get enough momentum in the first 15 minutes, and they just got obliterated in a lot of fights they shouldn't have taken. They didn't respect Invasion's team fight potential, and they're feeling it now. Obviously, with the Rubik dead, they can be free to use their ultimates as they wish, and they wish to kill off everybody on IAP. The second lane of Rax goes down, range Rax gonna fall too, and yeah, that's pretty much the GG here. I can't see a way where they actually go back into it.
BKB saves a shapeshift, but he's looking for a fight here. Everyone's coming back, and they're TPing towards mid lane. He's going right for the easiest target, Crystal Maiden, but they're actually making it work for it. Urn's going to be there. Eventually she will go down. Now Doc X, the focal point, using that little bit of extra move speed with what's left of the shapeshift to get him out of a pickle. Runs his way out. FZ caught in the trees, unfortunately, after that blink, but the shockwave certainly does help. They take down the Nyx Assassin. Lycan makes his way out, but meanwhile it's Medusa cleaning out the mid lane. Easily takes
a
down
foot from her
Bench.
fountain. It sucks.
Oh, Fox quickly blown up. He just got back. Poor guy. Not even having a chance. And it's going to be what looks like Execration falling here to Invasion Esports. Execration had a long day of games, even with Invasion having stand-ins. Maybe feeling a little bit fatigued. Invasion, who put together a huge wombo combo kind of a team fight with Medusa having all the luxury of bringing in a superior amount of farm. That just makes it look oh so easy as we get past the 30-minute point.
Yeah. And make no mistake, actually, they're running with their full roster here, but they just did a little bit of a role switch here. Ketchugambo instead of mid lane takes the safe lane, and they do really well with the FCFC in the mid. Like, they stopped the momentum of the opposition. They responded really well to enemies' aggression. Like, they knew when the Nyx was going to gank. They didn't necessarily prevent every gank, but they always got revenge on it. And as long as they're getting some kills, Invasion is gaining momentum over Nyx Assassin. And in this case, if you look at the end items of this Nyx, this does not look like a mid Nyx. This looks like a 4 or 5 position Nick's Assassin 34 minutes into the game. He just didn't get the tempo, didn't get the momentum, and you can say the same for Lycan. If he had AC and Vlad's, the split shot doesn't do that much, but not even able to get to the AC aura. He's able to do some split push, but he's not able to take fights.
Certainly not. So with the conclusion of our third matchup for today, Invasion Esports now bump up the record to 6-3. This puts them into a second-place position. And for Execration, IAP, they're now moved down to a now square even 4-4 record. So they need to start securing a little more, more wins to feel a little bit more comfortable, at least trying to contend for a spot in the top 4. Invasion Esports look good in this game. They look good so far in the Summit 2. They can hold on to this momentum. They could secure a spot into those playoffs. We got one more game to come, one more best of 4. We're probably already behind schedule due to the bit of delays. But our last matchup of the day is going to be Johnny's Revenge taking on Myth. So we'll be back with that game in just a moment. Thanks for hanging out. If you like what you heard, catch me on my Twitter at CoddleGuy. Catch my fantastic co-caster Blaze at BlazeCasting. A pleasure as always. We'll be back in just a moment.